Okay, so first let me turn down the radio and turn this down also. So, leaving early for the day. Wasn't really supposed to be in there, but I had a high-level meeting that I had to do. The gentleman on the phone, got to make sure I don't hit no truck. Or not the gentleman on the phone, but I think I'm going to miss it. Yeah. Checking out the camera, making sure I'm good. But the gentleman on the train asked if I worked for the city. Not directly. I'm not going to mention necessarily where I work, but I'm familiar with the groups that he was talking about, and he was asking about the train system and what was going on with it and the fact that it's going to be shut down. So correct, the T-Link is not going away. So the streetcar that you see, or light rail, whatever you want to call it, it is going to be temporarily stopped for about a month. Supposedly they're going to have shuttles that take you back and forth, and I say supposedly because one other time it was down for some reason, and to be honest with you, I didn't see a shuttle one. There's no real times. So in this garage you see there's a Porsche, there's a really nice Tesla. This garage is full of commuters. We're right now on the 3rd floor. I went up to the 4th, that's where I park. But it's just full of cars. And there was even a time when this even had a permit area. And it's not really needed anymore because we don't have a lot of people that need parking like they used to. Now there are temporary spaces or temporary times for a few hours, 3 hours or so. I could have parked at one of those because the meeting I took was just a short meeting. It wasn't a full day thing like I typically have to do. But anyhow, I kind of like where I park at. But anyhow, so it's going to be shut down for a month so that they can connect the line. So the way that the current system is right now is it is a single track line from the Dome District, or actually from where the storage yard is and maintenance facility. So it is a one track system from there all the way up to basically Union Station. Union Station right there is super busy whenever students are in session. So right now, a lot of the garage is empty because the students, UW students, they're in session, but they're not in session. It's not the main time of year. And the other thing is that the high school students are obviously out. Now, a lot of them may not necessarily drive, but some do. You'll see them come down to this station here. But a lot of university students park there, and a lot of staff. Now, there's a big push in Tacoma recently for more light rail usage. So you're going to see, and sorry if you're just seeing a little bit of me, but so you're going to see more people utilize that system. Now, if this light changes, which I hope it does, but it may not, I'm going to try to wheel this around here. So there's some police officers on bikes. So where this building here is, there's development there. And then there's a crane right up there, which shows you kind of what I was referring to when I said that there's going to be extra development that you guys can't see. And so that's what I was referring to. That's a monster project right there. That project there is a really, really big project. It's called Jefferson Flats, I believe. Because I believe the town center, the building that was completed, is called Jefferson Square. The naming is really, and it's mainly because I think that street is called Jefferson. I'm not 1,000% on that. But the push is for more people to use transit. And so you're having a lot of businesses here now, companies, I should say, are pushing the use of transit passes. So they're getting people transit passes, which is great. Now, obviously, I get a free transit pass, which I use, but currently the T-line is free. Now, once that expansion happens, which is to that gentleman's comment, once that starts, then there's no more free. It's no longer free. And so UWT is making it so that a lot of their staff is able to get free transit cards, which I think is great. And there's others that are doing that. And so it's a good bargaining chip, to be honest with you. Because folks can park in that garage, which I don't want them to necessarily, because it's hard for me to find space. That's kind of selfish. Obviously, that's a lot selfish. But the whole point is for them to be able to park and then take that in, so we don't have such a nightmare on the streets as far as parking goes. Now, one thing I will say is there are other areas that are trouble spots, like in Hilltop, which that gentleman was talking about. Parking is kind of scarce. I mean, it's becoming more and more of a thing. And again, as we get more residential housing, as you saw from that small bit of all the sky cranes, and some of those, there were many more that have been taken down. The buildings have been completed to the point where they don't need the sky cranes. They rent those, and they're expensive by the month, so it becomes pretty pricey. But so they take them down as soon as they possibly can. But as you can see, there was like at least 4 or 5 in the distance, then the one in the Dome District, and then the one that I just showed you. And there was many others. And so those are the projects when I had done videos, and I would say there's about 400 apartments that are going to be online in about a year. That's basically what that is referring to, is those are going to be available around that time frame. Puts a lot of pressure on existing infrastructure in a way, because parking, in Tacoma hasn't really been much of an issue. And now it's becoming a bigger concern. Now, I should say that some don't feel that way, but for others, it's becoming a concern. I'm not going to show you, but this is a conversion project right here. It's an old, tiny building. Back when, I don't know how old the building is, but I'm saying it's probably at least a good 60 years old. It's cinder block construction throughout. And so it used to be is a small grocer underneath, and then up above, I guess, was probably storage, but it was designed for housing. The grocer went away for some time, and it just sat. Because this particular street is going to be a BRT system, you're seeing a lot of investment from smaller folks. So smaller developers. I was just talking to an office worker about a building downtown, the Bank of California building. He's like, why, do you want to buy it? Because he's always looking for and I'm like, no. But these little buildings like this, which is a 2-story building, they're flipping it. So they're now going to, I guess, keep retail down below, I assume, and probably apartments up above. It just makes a lot of sense to really do that, especially in Tacoma. There's such a need for housing. And then there's another building right there that's for sale or lease. It was an old pharmacy, and that would be good for a lot of different things. But you're seeing a lot of that happen. This area here reminds me so much of Aurora Avenue. Pacific Avenue reminds me so much of Aurora, because it's just similar in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, no. In a lot of ways, it does. But I don't know where those lights are coming from. Oh, there they are. But yeah, we have a very hot market. I don't think that's going to change. I think the prices will get a little lower for homes and stuff like that. Commercial and retail, I don't see that. I don't see that changing, personally. There's some debate on that. Some people feel that, yeah, it will. Some people feel that it won't. I think that we're on this path. I think that even with home prices, they're going to dip, obviously. But, and I think people are like, oh, you know, there's a huge shift. This time of year is typically when home prices are on the rise, right? But you got to keep in mind the state of the economy nationwide, the uncertainty in a lot of different areas. So it does impact us. I think locally our economy is pretty strong. It's pretty good. But nationally, I mean, when you look at your portfolios and they are not, sometimes they're half of what they were or even less, there's a little bit of panic. And then of course you got to look at interest rates and what's going on there. So the cost of goods, cost of product and everything, it's so expensive. Like we're getting air conditioning put into the home, it's double-digit prices, you know, like it's a lot of money. And so I think that that's why a lot of projects, big projects in Seattle, have stalled, because the uncertainty and the cost and everything else. Like folks want to make sure that they have a good product at the end. And some are changing. They're no longer condos and they're going to be apartments. But yeah, here our apartment market is very, as you can tell, very, very strong. Now, the cranes you saw pale in comparison to even just one neighborhood in Seattle. So don't get it twisted. Seattle is still on a building frenzy, but not like it used to be. And Tacoma, though, we are doing some things that we haven't experienced before. Just right here, there's a tiny little lot. And on this lot is 3 homes. Before it was just 1 home. And maybe they had some storage buildings throughout, but you're seeing a lot of that because it just pencils out perfectly for some folks. Other deals don't really pencil out, but some of these small conversions, like the grocery store with the residential above, that stuff really, especially existing structure, it can definitely pencil out with the fact that they're aiming it towards the BRT line, letting people know like this is an option for you. Now, I don't think there's any sort of parking probably, but again, that's kind of the way Seattle did it. Hardly any parking, a lot of residential, and people had to figure it out. And I think that's really the path we're going to. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. I'm home now. I don't want to get hit by this bus. There's a school bus. I guess somebody has some after school programs or something. Excuse me. But anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The little journey that I took in terms of just our light rail system and all that. It's growing just like everything else is in Tacoma. Let me see if I can. Oh, I got it. Let me make this a little easier. But with everything, there's growing pains, right? And that's currently what we're experiencing right now. But once the new system is up and running, it's going to be a major, major game changer for Hilltop. I should have got gas. I only got 9 miles left on this thing before I'm out of gas. I didn't think about it. But anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. I don't know where to look because I changed my camera. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.